Okay, I just finished my first video and now I'm over on the couch and we'll see how many videos I can knock out while my daughter is sleeping. So what I want to talk to you about in this video is how many calories do you need to eat in order to overcome your eating disorder. I think it's probably the #1 thing that people do wrong when they're trying to recover from an eating disorder. In particular, I'm talking about bulimia or binge eating disorder, is that they don't eat enough calories. For example, I read a book that was really influential for me. It was called Brain Over Binge. And the author has a wonderful blog where she actually answers, I think, almost everyone's questions. And the #1 thing that I think is wrong with people who are posting there who are saying, I read the book, I understand the ideas in the book, but I somehow can't stop binging. And the reason is that they're trying to subsist on 1,200 or 1,500 or even 1,800 calories. So how much do you need to eat? You need to eat enough that you're not hungry. And that sounds really crazy. It's sad that in today's society, women feel like something's got to be wrong if they are not hungry all the time. That it can't be right that they can just eat enough every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They can eat enough until they're full and they're not thinking about food. They think that can't be right. I have to be dieting. I have to be in a caloric deficit to be thin. And that is just not true. If you think about animals, animals are, if they're living in the wild, they are not overweight. They eat enough. Every time that they eat until they're full. They don't want to eat anymore. They go do something else, and they're not fat. And the same thing is true for people, as long as we're eating the right kind of food. So here's how you do it if you're following a raw vegan diet, or even a cooked vegan diet. Every single meal, you eat enough to where you don't care about food, you don't think about food until 3 or 4 or 5 hours later. If you start thinking about food an hour later because you only ate 3 bananas, that wasn't enough. You need to eat more. Personally, how it works well for me is if I eat 2 big banana smoothies for breakfast and lunch, then for dinner I don't really need that much calories. I can just eat a salad or some other raw vegetables and I'm fine. Sometimes I do need more and then I eat, a handful of dates as well or a couple fruits. And when I say big banana smoothie, I mean I take my big Blendtec container. I have like the extra large size, the wild side, it's called, the wild side jar. And I put in a little bit of strawberries or berries or mangoes or something, and then I pack in the bananas up until the very top. And then I sprinkle some coconut sugar on top. And I have that for breakfast and lunch. And that's really the best way for me to stay carved up enough that I completely am not thinking about food or binging or anything like that. And and my weight has started to come down doing that recently after I made some adjustments to my diet, and I can talk about that in another video. But I want to give you a couple tips that you can use to help spot if you're undercarb. So if you are drawn to high caloric density foods, especially fatty foods, like if you are wanting to fall inside a peanut butter jar and eat half the jar, that means that you're undercarbed. I used to have that where I would get there was this Earth Balance peanut butter that was made with coconut oil, so it was super fatty but tasted really good. I would eat like half the jar of that stuff and then wonder what happened. And that sounds so disgusting to me now. Like maybe if I make a sandwich for my son or something, I might lick off like the slight bit of peanut butter that's left on the knife after I spread it. But that is more than enough peanut butter. Peanut butter, it's like wallpaper paste to me now if I were to try to eat a lot of it. Let me see what else I had as tips. Oh yeah, if you have no energy and no motivation to do anything and you just find yourself like any moment that you don't have to do something, you just want to sit down on the floor or sit down on the couch or or lie down in bed or something, that means that you're not eating enough calories. The normal state of being is that you're like up and about and you're ready to do things. You're ready to go somewhere. You're ready to exercise. You know, nothing sounds like a too big a trouble to you. Thinking about food and just being aware about food. That actually happened to me just recently. I was feeling really sick. I'm actually still kind of sick. And my tonsils were really swollen and it was painful to swallow anything. And so I was having a hard time, you know, getting enough calories and just swallowing enough calories. And so, and suddenly I became aware when I took my kids out because it was too much trouble being home with them while being sick because I wanted to read to them all the time and stuff. My throat was hurting. So I just took them outside and I was thinking, oh, over there are frappuccinos and over there are pastries and over there are bagels and over there is this. And I was just thinking about it, just super aware. And normally I wouldn't even kind of notice it or give it any thought at all. So then in terms of raw versus cooked, it doesn't really matter in terms of eating disorder recovery. Now, some people have, you know, different opinions about what promotes the best results and the best health and feeling the best and so on and so forth. But in terms of eating disorder recovery, I think it's just important to get enough calories. And so for most people, I would venture in the beginning, it's too tough to get all the calories that you need to be okay from raw food. If you can, hey, that's really great if you get on board with the banana smoothies, and maybe if you have, you know, a background in binging, you're okay with eating a lot of food. But if you don't have enough calories and at nighttime, you know, you still feel hungry, then and you don't want another smoothie, then eat some potatoes or eat some rice or whatever it is that you like. To make sure that you're not undercarbed and that you're not depriving yourself. And it takes some time to teach your body to look at carbs and fruit as a source of calories. So for your body really gets used to what your usual food is, and then it reminds you, hey, how about let's have some more of that because I know that gives me calories. So that's why when for a long time you've been, let's say, like for myself, I would just eat lettuce and apples and cucumbers or something as my diet foods, and then I would binge out on really fatty foods, and so when I got hungry, I would crave those fatty foods. Well, now that I've been for a long time eating a lot of fresh raw foods and high-calorie raw foods, my body craves those when I get hungry. So it's just kind of a learning thing. Those are my thoughts. Let me know if you have any questions or if you have different experiences. And let me know in the comments. See you next video.